Hello and welcome to part 2 of the How Not to Tank Your Exams series. And in this part we're going to look at being too busy to revise early for exams. So we're looking at the reasons, excuses, whatever you're going to call them. Too busy to revise sooner. I can't concentrate, too many distractions. And by distractions I actually mean other jobs, unrelated jobs that need to be done. I'm not talking about loud neighbours or loud brother or sister playing music. If it's that kind of distraction, the only advice I can get is try to find another location to revise. I used to, instead of going straight home after school, I used to go to the library and I used to do my homework and I used to do my revision in the library, and I'd get home late. Sometimes I'd be told off for getting home late because they want their dinner, because they'd wait for me for dinner, and I'd say, look, I was doing my homework and I was revising, you should be proud of me. So if it's those kind of distractions, libraries are great places to go. Just find a quiet place where you can revise. If however the distractions are other jobs that need doing, then this is the video for you. The other excuse is I'm never going to need this stuff in my life, so what's the point? We're going to look at time management and prioritising, and that can help there as well. So we all have a lot on our plate. In fact, there is, for everybody, there's enough time to do anything we want to do, but there is nowhere near enough time to do everything that we want to do. So we can do anything, but we can't do everything, which means for everything that we choose to do, there are a whole load of other things that we can't do because we're doing the thing that we are doing. This is often called the opportunity cost. So we all have a lot on our plate. Very often it feels like you're being torn in many directions, with everyone making demands of you. On the school front, you've got lots of teachers demanding homework assignments, and of course they never liaise with each other, so often several teachers want their assignments all done at the same time. On top of that, you've got your parents demanding that you tidy your room, help out with the general housework, get a part-time job, or simply be part of the family. Translation, stop doing whatever it is you're doing and sit watching the television with us. Then you've got your friends who want you to hang out with them, to join them in an online game or an online chat room, or for an online event, or tweet an update, or post something new to Facebook, or maybe to your guild has got something scheduled, or several friends want you to watch such and such a video that they link to you, and woe betide you if you haven't checked their Facebook page and liked their posts by the time you see them next day at school. And let's not forget that you still have to keep up with all those YouTubers, or you'll have nothing to talk about to your friends the next day. That's not to mention church, mosque, temple, or whatever your parents want to drag you along to. You're being pulled in so many directions all at the same time, you barely have time to catch a thought of your own, let alone find time to revise for exams that are still way off, especially when homework is due in tomorrow. It's not surprising so many people who really did plan to revise early and often still find themselves cramming the night before the exam. If there's one thing worse than people demanding to know what you want to do with your life, it's when they actually try to tell you what you should be doing with your life. Everyone seems to want to know what you want out of life, but nobody tells you how to find out what it is you want out of life. You're supposed to have some crystal ball or something. First of all, don't feel pressured into deciding on a career arbitrarily just because everybody keeps demanding you to tell them. And another thing, don't decide on a career or lifestyle just because you like the teacher who teaches the subject, or deciding on a career because you think it will please your parents or impress your friends. It's your life, and you've only got the one. Don't waste your life chasing somebody else's dreams or trying to get the future that they want for you. It's your life. So it's not selfish for you to decide what you want out of your life. Yes, you can find time to help people because people will always be asking you for things. And yes, you can find time to help people from now and then. But your priority has to be chasing your own ambitions and your own dreams. But of course, you can't do that if you don't know what your dreams and ambitions are. This is probably the single most important question you will ever answer, and the sooner you're able to answer it, the smoother your life can go. But there's no pressure. If you make the wrong choice, you can always change it later on, but your life will be better if you make the right choice early on. Given how important this decision is, though, isn't it amazing how everyone just expects you to know what you want, even though nobody actually tells you how to go about getting the information in order to answer that question? Are you really supposed to make perhaps the most important decision of your life in total darkness? Okay, to tackle this all-important question, it's best to treat it like you would any kind of homework assignment. And with any homework assignment, the first thing you do is try to gather notes and do research. Maybe go to the library or ask your teacher for advice as to where to start. It's just the same as if you were given a homework assignment over the weekend or over the summer holidays. There's many places you can go to get information. I've written a few down off the top of my head. There are probably plenty of others. You could go to your careers guidance counsellor at school. Amazingly, quite a few people don't realise that their school has a careers guidance counsellor. So ask if there's a careers guidance counsellor at your school and where they're located, and make an appointment and talk to them. You've also got your local job centre. The internet's got loads of great stuff. My favourite is the National Careers Service. They've got tons of information about what possible jobs and career options there are. There's recruitment agencies. You can talk to your tutor or teachers at school, your parents. On top of that, you've also got friends. Your friends have got parents, and those parents have got friends who are in all sorts of different jobs, and you can talk to them about what jobs they do and how they like those jobs, how many hours involved, how much travelling, all that kind of stuff. You can gather information. So your first step is to gather as much information as you can, and then you can start narrowing it down. Okay, so you've talked to loads of people, you've looked at the National Career Service, you've got loads and loads and loads of possible job options that are available. Your next step is to start narrowing down your options. You know, the National Careers Service alone has over 800 job profiles to choose from, and nobody expects you to look at all of them. But hopefully you already have an idea of what some of your strengths and weaknesses and likes and dislikes are, so you might be able to narrow down some of those choices from hundreds to just a handful. For instance, are you an outdoors or an indoors type person? If you're a sedentary indoors type person, you probably don't want a job that involves loads of travelling or being out in all weathers. Conversely, if you hate being cooped up in a room all day, you probably don't want a desk job. Right there, you've probably halved the choices and halved the amount of research you need to do. Keep narrowing down the field until you're left with just a handful of career sectors to look at. Look at things like how much these jobs pay and how many hours they require, how much travelling is required. You should be able to narrow down your choices quite quickly from literally hundreds to just a handful. Bear in mind, you're not limited to the jobs or careers offered by the job centres or careers guidance counsellors or websites. You can run your own business and carve your own path. If that's what you want, again, there's plenty of advice out there from schools and the internet. If you want to run your own business, a lot of banks have business liaison officers. They're happy to give you advice about starting your own business. It's not just what kind of career you want, though. You should also consider what kind of lifestyle you want to enjoy and how much money you're going to need to achieve that lifestyle. Some career choice or lifestyle combinations are quite impossible. For example, you can't do a job that demands long hours and lots of travelling if it's your hope to spend lots of time at home with your family. Usually jobs that have short hours and are convenient to get to tend to be low paid, so as soon as you can, try to decide where you want your work-life balance to be. Don't be afraid to talk to people who are in that profession that you want to choose and ask them what it's like, how hard it is to get into that profession, how did they get started, what it's generally like living on that kind of income. Remember, you can always change your mind and your career direction as circumstances in your life change. Okay, so how do I get that life that I wanted? Start with the life you want and work backwards to where you are now. Ask companies or people in that sector what qualifications or experience is necessary to get that position. Then research the institutions that offer those qualifications or experience, and then ask them what they require for you to get in, and keep working backwards until someone tells you what qualifications, if any, you need to come away from school with. Also, what clubs or societies or what other extracurricular activities you should have been doing while you were at school. Once you know what's expected of you in order to get the life that you're now dreaming of, you can start prioritising your workload. Okay, so here's where we pull it all together, and maybe at some point up till now you've been thinking, well, hang on, I'm already so busy that I can't find time for my revision, and he's asking me to do even more work? Well, once you have a good idea of what you want out of life, or at the very least what kind of career you would like, you can start to prioritise all the various demands on you. One of the secrets of success is not just knowing who to please, but who to disappoint. Nobody likes to disappoint anyone, but trying to please everyone is one of the fastest possible roads to failure, or at the best, mediocrity. You have time in your life to do anything you want. Unfortunately, you do not have time in your life to do everything you want. So start by taking a sheet of paper and drawing a line along the middle with an arrow going to the right, and label this axis important. Next, draw an arrow pointing up, intersecting the horizontal axis, and label it urgent. Now on this diagram, write down the things that you need to be done. For example, the various homework assignments you need to do, the various subjects you need to revise, or the things people are demanding of you, as well as things that you want to do. Put the most important things, those which will directly help you attain the life that you've chosen for yourself, on the right, and the things that are relatively low importance on the left. There's no absolutes here. What you consider important and what you consider not important will depend on your chosen life and career goals. If you're having difficulty assigning importance, ask yourself, how much will it matter 5 or 10 years down the road if this thing never gets done? Then ask yourself, how urgent is it? If it needs to be done in the next few minutes, or it needs to be handed in tomorrow, it's very urgent and it wants to go to the top of the page. And if it can wait a little while, then it can go down towards the bottom of the page. Now your chart is divided into 4 sections. The things you need or want to do will fall in one of those sectors. In the top right are things that are both important and urgent. They need to be done, and done as soon as possible. Ideally, do them now. These are priority 1. On the bottom right are things that can be put off until later, but remember, these things are important and they should take priority even over things that are urgent but not important. These things are priority 2. They should be done, or at least started or progressed, before you look at priority 3. On the top left, you have all the things that are urgent but not important. These things should only be done if you have finished everything in priority 1 and are at least making good progress towards completion of priority 2. These are priority 3 and can be squeezed in if you're confident that you have time. On the bottom left are things that are neither important nor urgent. They are the lowest priority, and if you're really busy, you can and should ignore all the tasks that have priority 4. You will have a happier and more successful life if you discard the tasks that are of the lowest priority and concentrate on the other priorities instead. Don't be tempted, though, to neglect important things like sleep, recreation, and headspace. I'll talk about headspace in another video. And socializing. These are as important to your mental and emotional health as food and drink is to your physical health. So don't be tempted to put going out with friends or watching something that you enjoy or listening to music in priority 4. There are 2 dangerous traps that people can fall into when they're organising their life. And trap 1 is all work and no play. Some people work so hard towards a better, brighter future that they forget to enjoy the here and now. And in all honesty, was I want to be a sad, lonely workaholic one of your chosen life goals? And also, trap 2 is all play and no work. Some people are so busy living in the moment that they don't plan for the future and claim life is hard. And in all honesty, was I want to be a deadbeat lazy slob really one of your chosen life goals? But now you can see why it was so important to decide what you want out of life. How do you know what's important and what isn't important if you don't know what direction you want your life to take? Some of your teachers and maybe some of your friends and relatives, maybe even your parents, are going to be disappointed in you, and that's not a bad thing. Remember, success is as much about knowing who to disappoint as it is who to please. Try not to refuse to hand in homework, and don't be rude about it or ignore other people's subjects completely. All learning is good, but you can give some lessons and some people a lower priority than others. If your school notices a general drop in the quality of your homework, they will worry about you, and you may even get letters to your parents about your performance. But if they notice a drop in some subjects and a corresponding improvement in other subjects, they'll realise that you're a person who knows what they want out of life and will generally be supportive, especially if you have demonstrated that you have researched your life goals and career choices and are working towards those goals. There's a phrase that goes, "The whole world steps aside for people who know where they're going." Generally, people will help you achieve your ambitions if you know what it is you want and you show that you have given it a lot of thought. Now that you've organised your priorities, you can devote the most time to what's most important. And if exam revision is important to your career and life goals, then you are never too busy to do your revision. In the next video, we'll look at how the brain works and try to understand the learning process. I would like to wish you all the best with your studies, and if after researching your career and life goals you still feel good grades are important, then I'll see you in the next video.